The Rock the Native Vote organization based in Oklahoma City was excited to be chosen as one of 16 cities by the National Urban Indian Family Coalition to focus on the 2020 census and voter engagement for Native communities. Our organization is under the umbrella of the Oklahoma Indian Missionary Conference, which is made up of 81 Native American United Methodist congregations in Oklahoma, Kansas, and Texas. Rock the Native Vote has worked on voter engagement since 1994. The grants provided this year have been a game changer in our approach to reach people. We have been able to expand our efforts in Oklahoma City and in the Tulsa area. And the funding and support by our national partners have been a tremendous help. We began to organize our voter registration efforts quickly after receiving word of the grant. Ms. Roxana Foster is serving as our coordinator for the Oklahoma City area voter registration efforts.
Hello, when you respond to the 2020 census, you help ensure Native communities in Oklahoma receive the funding that they deserve.
Roxana began collecting supplies, attending trainings on voter registration, and recruiting workers. And after we all received training on the process of registering voters, she began hosting training events herself for all of the workers. We have persons of all ages working with us, including college students, 2 of whom are bilingual and help us reach Hispanic communities. Roxana has done a great job identifying locations for us to set up for voter registrations. They have ranged from Indian taco sales, powwows, the waiting area of the Oklahoma City Indian Clinic, Native workshops, campus events at universities, and more. We'd probably set up at about 25 to 30 places before the pandemic hit. Recent data shows that Oklahoma City has over 73,000 eligible Native American voters, and there are 106,000 eligible Native voters in the greater Tulsa area. Once Oklahoma issued stay-at-home orders due to the coronavirus, we focused more on the social media, which is coordinated by our media specialist, Jenny Underwood. Jenny set up a website for both voter registration and Census 2020. She also created a Facebook site where we post at least 4 times a week. We have spent the past several months engaging with census experts in the Oklahoma City area. We knew we had a lot to learn, but we also became a bridge to helping our non-Native census organizers understand Native communities. At one of our very first events, I attended a meeting where I was invited to pick up posters and flyers that were created for the groups that were present. And as I went down the table, I quickly discovered Native folks were not represented. We were the only group left out of the promotional materials. And as the meeting started, I raised the question of why we were not represented, and I also shared my frustration that no one in the group noted we were not featured in the PowerPoint presentations, photos, or posters. And right after the meeting, organizers came to me and asked if I would work with them to create the posters and then be a part of a video along with the mayor of Oklahoma City and others. No matter where you're from, everyone who lives in Oklahoma City counts. For Native Americans in Oklahoma, one of the census questions will ask for your race. I quickly began to mobilize persons that reflected our Native community as we gathered for the photo shoot. The posters came out great. We were so pleased. I was also thankful we could be represented in the video as well. In our preparation, we held sessions in both Oklahoma City and Tulsa, invited key leaders to come attend a meal and presentation on our events. We had about 14 Native American organizations represented in Oklahoma City and about 10 in Tulsa. We shared our plans for the census promotion and voter engagement. It was well received. We were also approached by Jasha Echohawk with Together Oklahoma, who is also focusing on the census for Native folk across the state. We received a grant from them as well. Jasha has provided great social media events for us to participate with, along with radio interviews and much more. As we made plans for our census work, we purchased iPads to use to help persons sign in for the census. We had sites set up where we would go and do this, such as tribal community centers and churches. And as the pandemic worsened, our plans changed. Our efforts moved totally to social media. We have created original content and share whatever we find that is connected to us, and we post that as well. We began to create short public service announcements featuring Native persons to promote the census.
It's easy. 10 minutes of your time today will make a big difference for our community in the future.
In addition, Census 2020 had a national video contest, and Jeannie engaged several to work on a video that we submitted. It was a very creative video, and we were sorry we did not win, but there were 700 entries.
The census impacts nearly $700 billion in federal spending. More people who take the census means more money for your community.
Since our budget for in-person events would not be used for that purpose, we purchased bus shelters and digital boards with the NUIFC logo for both Tulsa and Oklahoma City. Our social media events have included giving away t-shirts that we had designed for Census 2020. We have participated in area events on social media such as panels on voting and census. And we most recently hosted a tribal singing event for the census focus on faith communities. We are so thankful to be a part of this great effort created by the National Urban Indian Family Coalition. It is no small feat for this group to oversee so many projects around the country. I want to offer a huge appreciation to the Culture Foundation for believing in us and supporting all of us. We know we can make a difference by our engagement and great work.